So with the news across Canada that the Nova Scotia Board of Censors, which used to regulate movies being shown to the province, looks to be no more, one of the most interesting cases in the group's history is coming back up. Of course, it's Nova Scotia Board of Censors versus McNeil that went all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. Now, I think Last Tango in Paris is not a classic. It's basically a rape movie that a young woman, Maria Schneider, who is in the movie, is being abused both on screen and off screen by the actors and producers and directors of the show. Now, Last Tango in Paris, for a lot of people, is still is an art film, but let's look about the censorship of the movie. Now, British censors reduced the duration of the sodomy sequence. Yes, Maria Schneider's character gets taken up the ass before permitting the film to be released in the UK, though it was not cut in later releases. Mary Whitehouse, a Christian morality campaigner, expressed outrage that the film had certified X rather than banned outright, and Labour MP Maurice Edelman denounced the classification as a license to degrade. The film was censored in Spain during the Franco regime. It was not released until December 1977. Chile banned the film entirely for nearly 30 years under its military government, and the film was similarly suppressed in Portugal until the Carnation Revolution in 1974, when its premiere had been an example of the freedom democracy allows. The same happened in Brazil during a period of military dictatorship when the film was censored, until it was finally released in 1979. Other countries that have banned it include Argentina, South Korea, Singapore, and Venezuela. Now, in Australia, the film was released uncut with an R certificate by the Australian Classification Board on February 1st, 1973. It received a VHS release by Warner Home Video with the same classification on January 1st, 1987, forbidding sale or hire to anyone under the age of 18. Now, in Canada, the film was banned by the Nova Scotia Board of Censors, leading to the landmark 1978 Supreme Court of Canada split decision in Nova Scotia Board of Censors versus McNeil, which upheld the province's right to censor films. Now, in this case, Supreme Court of Canada heard the arguments in May of 1977, but only made a decision some 7 months later. Now, this is a famous pre-Canadian Charter decision from the SCC on freedom of expression and the criminal law power in the Constitution Act of 1867. The film censorship laws in the province of Nova Scotia were challenged on the basis that it constituted criminal law, which could only be legislated by the federal government. The court held, though, that the censorship laws had a moral dimension to it. The laws did not have any prohibition of penalty required in criminal law. Now, the Amusement Regulation Board of Nova Scotia, created under the Theatre and Amusement Act, banned the film Last Tango in Paris from being shown in the province because of the content I just mentioned. Now, McNeil, who was a journalist, attempted to challenge the law on the basis that it was a constitutionally invalid law. The issue before the Supreme Court was whether the regulation of morality alone constituted a criminal law. In a 5-4 decision, the court held that the law was concerning property and civil rights under Section 9213 of the British North American Act and not criminal law. Now, Richie J., writing for the majority that the pith and substance of the Act concerned the regulation, supervision, and control of film, a form of private property in the province. Consequently, the law was strictly a matter of property and civil rights, a matter that was an exclusive jurisdiction of the province. Further, Ritchie applied a definition of criminal law from the Margarine reference case, which required that a criminal law must concern the public interest and must consist of prohibition with a penalty. Ritchie found that there was no clear prohibition because the law did not provide details on what was prohibited, rather left to the discretion of the board. Now, Laskin C.J. in dissent found the law had no connection with property and civil rights. Laskin identified the law as colorable. In form, it concerned property, but in substance, it concerned the regulation of taste. Now, a lot of Canadians wanted to go see the show, but Nova Scotia basically said the movie was bad taste because of the various sexual scenes, and allegedly there was real sex going on in the movie. He noted how the province had already unsuccessfully attempted to prosecute the distributor of the film under the obscenity laws of the criminal code, and saw this as another attempt at the same goal. Now, a lot of people believe that the movie itself, was problematic in a lot of ways. Now, Even in 2024, the documentary Being Maria, a film based on Schneider's experience working on Last Tango in Paris, was released in 2024, having the premiere at the 77 Cannes Film Festival. The film was directed by Jessica Palud and adapted from Lester Schneider's 2018 memoir, My Cousin Maria Schneider, talking about her difficulties in doing numerous scenes, again including the anal sex scene. Also released in 2024, the biopic Waltzing with Brando depicts the period between 69 and 74, in which Brando was preparing to star in The Godfather and The Last Tango in Paris. Now, in December 2024, a planned screening of the movie at the Parisian theatre Cinématique Français was cancelled after women's rights groups protested the showing due to the film's infamous rape scene. French actress Juliette Godess also protested the theatre's decision to show the film without context given to the rape scene, writing on Instagram, "It's time to wake up, dear Cinematic, and restore humanity to a 19-year-old actor by behaving humanely." The cinema's director, Frederic Baudin, stated that the decision to pull the film was because we are a cinema, not a fortress. We cannot take risks with the safety of our staff and audience, and stated that violent individuals were beginning to make threats, and holding the screening and debate posed an entirely disproportionate risk. His statements led to further criticism from feminist groups, which accused him of posing as a victim and stating he should have instead apologized for wanting to screen the film to begin with. The 50-50 Collective and other women's rights groups had called on a Cinematic to provide thoughtful and respectful place for Schneider's testimony experience alongside the screening. Other feminists stated that they would have approved of the screening had a discussion been had after the screening and a note handed to viewers describing the non-consensual background of the scene. Now, the basic plot of the movie, which I don't want to go deep into, but it is what it is. The film stars Brando, Maria Schneider, and Jean-Pierre Léaud, and portrays a recently wounded American who begins an anonymous sexual relationship with a young Parisian woman. Now, when the film premiered at the New York Film Festival in October 72, it eventually grossed $36 million worldwide on its U.S. release, making it the 7th highest-grossing film of the 73. The film's raw portrayal of rape and emotional turmoil led to international controversy and drew various levels of government censorship in different jurisdictions. Upon release in the States, the MPAA gave the film an X. United Artists Classics released an R-rated cut in 1981, and in 1997, after the film became part of the MGM library, it was reclassified as NC-17. Now, the overall impact and of the movie, like anonymous sex and anger and women taking advantage of it, older man taking advantage of a younger woman. There's a whole bunch of bad going on in the movie. Like I said, art films have a certain way to push freedom. But in Canada in the 1970s specifically, because we were watching a lot more movies than any other country in the world, we knew exactly how bad Last Tango in Paris would be with the overall perception of Canadians. Canadians like a good movie. They like a good comedy, good drama. And a lot of people were starting to turn against Marlon Brando because of this movie, and he was never the same again. Brando was a big star, and we could put up with him with the Don and the Godfather, but pretty well a youth rapist, mentally and physically, in Last Tango in Paris. So the Nova Scotia Censor Board, I think, did the right thing, and like I said, that's what they're supposed to do. Now, this was before the VHS and the Betamax generation. From then, pornography was not a big factor on tape at the time. So for what they needed to do in that Adam, I think they made the right decision, because Last Tango in Paris, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, because not say it's a snuff film, but it's got aspects of that too. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the controversy in the Nova Scotia Ratings Board, Last Tango in Paris, which I guess the Nova Scotia Ratings Board is fading away and we're going to miss them. Just like our ratings board, I guess it'll be up to the studios to rate the movies from now on. So I wish best of luck to everybody. If you like what we're doing here with our Vintage Movie Podcast, let us know in a like, comment, subscribe, or share.